Good morning, scholars. Today we're going to look at the lines 4 through 8 of Euripides' Heracles Furens, continuing our intermediate exposition. So let's start, as always, by reading our lines twice. Hostas de Thebas eskon, ent ho gηγένης σπαρτών στακούς ἔβλαστον, hon genus ares, ἔσωσ αριθμόν ολεγόν, hoikad mu paulen, τεκνόω σε παιδόν παῖσεν, enten εξέπου, κρεών μενόικιας παῖς, ἄναξ, ταῖς de donos. Again. Hostas de Thebas eskon, ent ho gηγένης σπαρτών στακούς ἔβλαστον, hon genus ares, ἔσωσ αριθμόν ολεγόν, hoikad mu paulen, τεκνόω σε παιδόν παῖσεν, enten εξέπου, κρεών μενόικιας παῖς, ἄναξ, ταῖς de donos. Okay, so the first thing we need to address is Thebas, hostas de Thebas eskon. Thebes is one of these place names that's in the plural, so this is covered at Smythe 1005. Names of towns and parts of bodies are sometimes plural, such as Athenai and Thebai, as are Stete and Sterna, and the name of inhabitants is often used for the name of a city, Delpoi. Okay, that appears to be from Demosthenes. Okay. But just starting off with some of the vocabulary, we have this inta, where, which will be found on our chart of correlative adverbs at Smythe 346. Very important chart, can't emphasize enough how familiar you need to be with this. Then gηγένης, earthborn, of primeval men, and that's from gignomai, and it's used like apokton, autochthon, autochthonous, born from the same soil. The Athenians were very proud of the claim that their ancestors hadn't come from anyone where they were native, people of that region. Okay, but gηγένης has the same notion, but really, just looking at the compound of the word, geis is earth, genes, born from the earth. Okay, so earthborn. And then we have spartos, sparte, sparton, okay, which is the adjective form derived from spero to sow. So something that's spartos is sown, grown from seed. So you'll think of the Spartans. They are traced their background to this event and such. So at Thebes, the Spartos, the Spartoi, are the sown men, those who claim their descent from the sowing of the dragon's teeth by Cadmus. Okay, so they equal the Cadmeans or the Thebans. Okay, and there's a really wonderful image of Cadmus sowing the teeth that I'll try to find for us. Okay, then we have stachus, stachos, ho, stachus. That nominative singular has a long upsilon, and it refers to an ear of corn, literally, but in this sense it means scion, child, or progeny. Okay? And then we have our main verb here from blastano, which means to bud, to grow, or to sprout. So 埃βλαστον is a second aorist, is the second aorist form. Okay. And then we have genus, the genitive singular of genos, and I'll talk about that. We'll give specific attention to the morphology of that in a little while. But hon genus a res. Okay, we have this not usual collocation of two genitives, a genitive depending on a genitive, which I'll explain in a second. So, as promised, looking at the morphology of genos, to genos, okay, this is explained at Smythe 263, where he classifies the stems that end in sigma, i.e. epsilon sigma, alpha sigma, omicron sigma, and genos ends, the stem itself ends in epsilon sigma, as you can see from that, what's in parentheses below to genos. Okay, so stems in sigma are contracted, where S falls out between the vowel of the stem and the vowel of the ending. And you can go to my section 120 to see that explained. Thus, genos, race, produces the genitive geneos, which gets contracted to genus. And so, likewise, the dative plural, the dative singular, you get gene, but the S disappears between the epsilon and the iota, so you end up with gene. Okay? And you can compare Latin genus, generis, and which exists for genesis, generi. I mean, you always have these parallels all over the place between Latin and Greek, and you can reach down to Sanskrit. You know, it's all going back to Indo-European. However that may be, the neuters with stems in S have omicron sigma in the nominative, accusative, and vocative singular. So if we look at this declension, you see genos, genos, genos in the nominative, the accusative, and the ablative singular. Okay, remember with neuter nouns, the nominative and the accusative will always be identical. But what makes this recognizing this declension a little strange is that here, because we're dealing with a straightforward Attic text, we have the contraction occurring, so that the genitive form that we're looking at of the singular, genus, okay, contracts the epsilon and the omicron to omicron upsilon. And the laws of contraction are quite complex and are treated by Smythe and are worth studying closely if you're going to be reading, when you get around to reading Attic seriously. However, if you're reading Homer or Herodotus, they tend to leave the vowels open, so they will not contract it. So you see these parenthetical forms. Those are more likely to be seen in Herodotus or Homer, whereas the contracted forms you'd see in Euripides and most certainly Plato or Thucydides. Okay, so we have genos, genus, gene, genos, genos, then gene, genon, genese, gene. Okay. Now the reason why this is important to recognize this particular declension is, looking at that genitive singular form, genus, if you weren't really on your game, you might look at that and think you were looking at a second declension masculine accusative plural. Okay? A second declension masculine accusative plural. But no, this is a third declension noun. It has its stem in epsilon sigma, and so that omicron upsilon sigma of the genitive singular has arisen from this contraction after the sigma has disappeared. So this is a inflection that always repays revisiting. Okay, to genos. Okay. So another main verb, ἔσωσ, from a verb that actually has two forms, σώζω and σαόω. It means to keep alive, to preserve, to save. So the form we're dealing with, ἔσωσ, okay, ἔσωσα is from ἐσαόσα with a recessive accent. And again, that alpha omega has contracted to ἔσωσα, according to the rules of contraction. And in our actual, what we're looking at on the page, we have the elision of the epsilon of the third person singular aorist form. So he preserved, he saved. Okay. Then we have tεκνόω, which means to furnish or stock with children. So τεκνούσεν, παῖδον, παῖσεν. He peopled, he childrened with the sons of sons. And then we finally have this eten in its second occurrence. Well, it's really eten because the first one was eta, but this is a demonstrative, not the relative. So if you look at that chart, you'll see the difference between the demonstrative. You see the demonstrative and the relative have the same form, but Bond, in his super scholarly commentary, alerts us that this is a demonstrative, because there's a way in which the relative would make sense as well. In fact, I thought it was the relative for quite a while until I revisited Bond. Okay, and then you have the wonderful word ǎnαξ, ӓνακτός, which in Homer will have the digamma, so it'll actually be ἀναξ, ӓνακτός, but by the time we get to Euripides, that awareness of the digamma has disappeared, so we have ǎnαξ, ἀνακτός, and ἀνακτός tes tecnόω. We'll treat that now, or in a second. Okay? So we have, just looking at the declension of παῖς, παιδός, because we have τεκνούσαι, παῖδον, παῖσαι. Okay? This is one of those stems that ends in a dento. So when the sigma to form the nominative singular runs into the delta of the stem, that delta ultimately becomes sigma and then drops, so you end up with παῖς. Okay? So παῖς, παιδός, παῖδε, παῖδα, παῖδες, παῖδον, παῖσαι, παῖδας. Okay? παῖς, παιδός, παῖδε, παῖδα, παῖδες, παῖδον, παῖσαι, παῖδας. And παῖς, παιδός is an exception to the general rule of the accentuation of single monosyllabic third declension nouns, which is treated at Smythe 252, where he says stems of one syllable accent the case ending in the genitive and dative of all numbers. Okay, so on, and oin take the oin being the dual, take the circumflex accent. So you have pleps, but plebos, plebon, der, but deros, deroin, deron, thrix, but trikos, trikon. But you have the exceptions. The ending of the genitive plural, dual, and plural is not accented in the case of παῖς, dmos, dos, tros, pos, or us, ear. Thus you get παῖδον, παῖσαι, but παῖσαι. The dative does take the form. So this explains the accentuation of τεκνούσαι, παῖδον, παῖσεν. Okay? And ἀναξ, let's look there too, because we have a nice third declension noun. ἀναξ, ἀνακτός, okay, masculine. So ἀναξ, ἀνακτός, ἀνάκτε, ἀνάκτα, ἀνάκτες, ἀνάκτον, ἄναξεν, ἀνάκτας. Okay, that alpha sigma of the accusative plural, the alpha is long, so that acute accent is pulled forward. Note that note the similarity between the forms of the nominative singular and the dative plural. Because the dative ending in the third declension is sigma iota, the stem ǎnαξ suffers the same fate as it did in the nominative singular, where the attachment of the sigma creates ǎnαξ, and then so the attachment of the sigma iota nu in the dative plural creates ǎναξεν. Okay, so you'll see that quite a bit, the similarity of transformation between the nominative and the dative plurals in these third declension nouns. So going back to ἄναξ tes tetanos, okay, ἄναξ tes tetanos. The genitive is used with notions of ruling. So 1370 of Smythe, the genitive is used with verbs signifying to rule, to command, to lead. So you have, it is divine to rule over willing subjects. Deon to etelon ton arcane. Okay. He was master of the sea. Tes dalates ekrate. So you see tes dalates is genitive, singular, because he ruled, he was master of the sea. Love is king of the gods. Eros ton theon basileue. Eros is the king of the gods. So basileue, he rules over the gods, ton theon, genitive. And finally from Xenophon, to be general of the mercenaries, strategein ton xenon. Strategein ton xenon. So with verbs of ruling, you'll have a genitive object. Unlike your general expectation that the direct object of a verb will be in the accusative. So this carries forward this notion, this triggering of the genitive, even when you're dealing with nouns or adjectives that have to do with ruling. So you have tes de kurios, tes koras, master of this country. Okay, kurios, Lord, tautes tes koras, master of this country. Okay, and unrestrained in passion, akrates orges, undisciplined with regard to passion. So orges is genitive. And so too with inkrates. So inkrates orges, master of one's anger. And then also with autokrator, complete master of, and akrator, intemperate of. Okay. So this notion of genitive of ruling covers, the last phrase of our of these lines. Áναξ tes tetanos. Okay, the Lord of this here land. Okay, so let's look at the whole thing together now that we've reviewed the salient vocabulary. Hos tastet debas heskon, int hoc gηγένης σπαρτών stacus ebasten, hon genus ares, έσωσ arithmon olegon, hoikad mu palin teknousi paidon paisen, inten exepu preon menoikios pais, Áναξ tes tetanos. Okay? So what's really amazing about this little stretch of text is the number of subordinating relatives that we have. So that hos tastet debas heskon begins with a straightforward nominative singular relative. Hos eskon, I who hold, I who inhabit, this here Thebes. And then you have int, where, okay, from inta, int, and that is will be found on our chart of correlative adverbs. Int ho gηγένης, σπαρτών στακούς ἔβλαστον. So ho gηγένης stacus, the earth-born offspring, okay, and sparton, of sown men. Hon genus ares ἐσωσ arithmon olegon. And this is quite tricky, because the hon genus, you get a genitive plural relative modifying a genitive singular. So this is kind of tricky, but it makes sense. Ares preserved a small number, okay, arithmon olegon, a number small, okay, so hon genus, of the race of whom Ares saved arithmon olegon. Hon genus Ares ἐσωσ arithmon olegon. It actually makes really clear sense in Greek, but it's kind of a little hard to figure out the syntax in conceptually, just because it's rare that you see a genitive modifying a genitive. Usually genitives modify nominatives or accusative. Hoi kadmu palen teknusi paidon paisen. And here we have one of the rare examples of a genitive modifying a dative. Paisen, paidon paisen, with the sons of sons, okay? Hoi, this race, the small numbered race, hoi, teknuse, peopled, kadmu palen, the city of Cadmus, and Cadmos was the guy who sowed the seeds. Hoi kadmu palen, who peopled with sons of sons, the city of Cadmus. Okay, and then we get inten, and as Bond tells us, this is demonstratives, from which place, or from which group of children, sons of sons, exepu, kreon menoikias pais, ānαξ, tes tetanos. Okay, so exepu, I'll leave that for you to look up if you don't recognize what it's from, but it's from puo, ex puo, and you can look it up. Hostastet debaseskon, int ho gηγένης, σπαρτών στακούς ἐβλαστον, hon genus ares ἐσωσ arithmon olegon, hoi kadmu palen teknuse paidon paisen, inten exepu, kreon menoikias pais, ānαξ, tes de donos. Okay, so I'll do this one last time in small phrases so you can repeat after me. So I'll say it once and then repeat. Hostastet debaseskon, int ho gηγένης, σπαρτών στακούς ἐβλαστον, hon genus ares ἐσωσ arithmon olegon, hoi kadmu palen teknuse paidon paisen, inten exepu, kreon menoikias pais, ānαξ, tes de donos. Okay, as always, if you have any questions about how this is working, specific questions, things I didn't treat, then ask them in the comments, and have a great day and keep working hard. Okay, good luck and bye-bye.